Admiral Kizaru is finally here, and I don't think the streets or even Luffy is ready for this fight. Chapter 1090 dropped a bit earlier than usual, so today we'll discuss what's about to pop off. For starters, one thing I really loved about this chapter was the characterization of Borsalino, something that we normally don't get, as he usually has two personalities. He's very high or just high, but he doesn't really show off his personality as much. But today, it did seem as if he was a little reluctant with this plan and was kind of pleading to Saturn not to go through it because he would have to be forced to fight his dear friend Sentomaru. Like, yes, he would do it if he had to, as he said he's a corporate slave, but he'd rather not do it. But unfortunately, rules are rules, and thus he had to go fight against one of his friends, zapping from outside of Egghead all the way to the middle of the island to attack Sentomaru in just like 5 seconds. This guy is nuts, but it makes sense as he is a light human, and Luffy sensed him, and I think we're about to witness a battle of a lifetime. This fight has been a long time coming, as we said, as this is basically the salty runback of Shibori Archipelago, where basically Kuma, Sentomaru, and Kizaru ruined the lives of Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. But now that these guys are emperors, it's finally time to show the world that they are the top dogs and no longer the underdogs. Luffy has gotten incredibly powerful since the last they met, being able to damage people without making contact, hurting them from the inside, Future Sight, Advanced Conqueror's Haki, and of course the legendary Gear 5 with the power of Toon Force. But this will not be an easy battle, as Kizaru is an admiral. He is an island level threat, and is also able to use advanced armament haki, as we've seen back in Marineford. He is probably one of, if not the fastest man on the planet, and God forbid if he has Future Sight. And unlike Kaido, he's not just gonna stand there and take all the damage and barely dodge. He's gonna fight like his life depends on it. And being a light human gives him a lot of tools at his disposal. Of course, he can go at the speed of light, he can make energy beams, swords, lasers, as well as technically he should be able to turn invisible, as all he has to do is bend the light around him, but I don't know if Oda will go that far. But this could be the debut of a Logia awakening, which Oda has been hiding for a very long time. It might have been hinted at the Battle of Punk Hazard between Aokiji and Akainu, where they quite literally permanently changed the climate and structure of the entire island. And I cannot wait to see how light would affect things. Yes, he does have to be careful of the surroundings, but he's fighting Monkey D. Luffy, an Emperor of the Sea, so he can't afford to hold back against this guy. And Kizaru is the perfect example to show just how powerful an admiral could be, as he is a part of the original admiral trio, which many fans consider to be the strongest admirals, at least compared to the current ones, Fujitora and Green Bull, due to his experience and mastery over his devil fruit. I definitely believe he is the strongest admiral right now, and he's basically the right hand of Akainu, as these guys are always seen together, and they actually came into the Marines at the same time, as they known each other before they entered back in the North Blue. Not only will this be a battle for Luffy to prove that he really is an emperor, but this is definitely going to be one of his toughest challenges. The fact that Oda went out of his way to give the admirals the same bounty as him is kind of an indication that they're around the same level, or at least the same threat level. Yes, Luffy might be overall stronger to most folks, but I think this fight is going to blow a lot of expectations and show that Kizaru could really go toe-to-toe with Luffy and go the distance. Of course, with Luffy's Gear 5 wackiness, a lot of things could happen. I can definitely see him grabbing a light beam and using it like a lightsaber and battling Kizaru, or knocking him across the head. I think that'd be extremely funny. But again, Gear 5 is not invincible, as it does have a severe weakness, and that is Luffy's stamina. He cannot stay in this form for too long. Remember, he had to go into Gear 5 twice just to defeat Kaido, and after his fight with Lucci, he got extremely weakened and tired, and Kizaru is a very merciless fighter, as we've seen in the past, and will not hesitate to deal the killing blow. Although Luffy is extremely powerful, Kizaru is a light human, and he's gonna have to match up with that speed or go even faster, so of course, Observation Haki will be the key to victory. He will probably have to master Future Sight and Observation Haki in order to get the W here. Although he's pretty good at these things, he wasn't really as masterful as Carter Curry or as consistent, and I think that will definitely be the key in order to defeat Kizaru here. and maybe even unlock an even further level of observation haki, or even see further into the future like Shanks did by seeing 10 seconds into the future while fighting Kid. Or maybe he can learn in this fight the observation killing technique that Shanks is known to have, so not even Kizaru will be able to detect his next move. This will be a match of the ages, but the fact that Oda had 9 Vice Admirals accompany Kizaru kinda makes it seem as if each Straw Hat will get their own individual fight, which is very interesting because I cannot imagine a Vice Admiral going toe-to-toe with Sanji, Jinbei, or Zoro, and if they do, I'd be very impressed, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's at least what it looks like to me, and Luffy might have to pull double duty because I'm almost certain that Saturn will get a fight, or at least see Luffy for the very first time. But again, the characterization of Kizaru here was very interesting because he's known to have unclear justice. I don't know what that means, so don't even ask. But the fact that in every movie he's in, or every time you see him in the manga, he's very merciless. He's always saying, you can't have justice without sacrifices. There gotta be casualties. It is what it is, man. I'm just a corporate slave. But here, he's making excuses and trying to find a way not to fight his friend Sentomaru by even saying that there's going to be enormous casualties and it's not really worth it. But unfortunately, he is, once again, a corporate slave and he has to do what he has to do. But the fact that he doesn't really want to do it is very, very fascinating. I cannot wait to learn more about his character in the future. But that is not the only thing that happened in this chapter. We learned how the Seraphim were basically taken out, I guess, or at least how the Straw Hats that were turned to stone were freed. Luffy basically asked Baby Hancock to free them because she shares the DNA and memories of the original Hancock, who is in love with Luffy, so she does as well, which is very interesting. But this makes sense as this was hinted when the Seraphim first were revealed, that the memories can be passed down through the DNA. So I'm actually very scared of Doflamingo because you know he's going to be very shisty, and Buggy's definitely going to be an extreme fraud. Powerful, but a fraud. But that's not the only thing, as this chapter dropped a major bombshell revealing the location of the next arc, which is going to be ELBAF, which is phenomenal because we've been talking about that for so many years. That arc is going to be very important for not just Luffy but also Usopp, and could be the location of where Jaguar D Sol is currently. And there are so many plot lines that are revolving around ELBAF. Kid was just there, he was defeated, so he most likely will be involved with that arc if he's alive. Shanks might be there to see Luffy, but as far as we know, he just recently left. But Dory and Broggy just reunited and they're there on the island right now, so hopefully we get a reunion between them and the Straw Hats, which is going to be so sweet. There's the looming plot line of Big Mom, if she does return, which I think she will, and hopefully she can finally learn the truth of what happened to Mother Caramel, and Luffy could finally knock her out once and for all, because man, I am tired of that old hag. There is something I would like to discuss very quickly, and that is Jewelry Bonnie. She seems to have gotten in a very good mood after finding out the truth of Kuma and no longer wanting to kill Vegapunk, but Luffy, as well as some of the audience, kind of found this personality switch very odd, that she was in a good mood all of a sudden. And to me, I find that very suspicious because Bonnie is one of the most emotional characters in the entire series. She's always crying, even at the slightest bit, and she quite literally saw the entire flashback of her father, whose life was basically a living hell, and all of a sudden she is in a happy mood. I don't buy it as of right now. The reason I don't buy it is because we know Katarina Devon and Laffy are currently on Egghead Island for whatever reason, and we know Katarina has the nine-tailed fox devil fruit that allows her to clone other people or become them, and I think it's very possible that right now Bonnie is actually Katarina in disguise. But that's a chapter. I'm really excited for what's about to happen. Honestly, I know a lot of people are expecting the Grand Fleet or someone to show up to help the Straw Hats, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think they really need it. I think this is gonna be their time to showcase to the world that they are an Emperor crew, and 30,000 soldiers honestly isn't that impressive, as these Straw Hats have fought way bigger numbers. Remember, in Fishman Island they fought 100,000 fishmen, and Luffy alone knocked out 50,000 of them with just his Conqueror's Haki, and that was him back then. He is considerably stronger now. Now, as for some predictions to what I think will happen in the future of this arc, I think Lilith and Vegapunk will be the only ones to survive this ordeal because, as I've said, there's just way too many of them. and I think York will actually join the Blackbeard Pirates because Katarina Devon and Lafitte are here for a reason, and York and Blackbeard actually share a similar goal. She wants to become a celestial dragon, Blackbeard wants to become King Blackbeard and own a nation, and they both could accomplish their same goal if they aligned with one another. Blackbeard just needs a hostage, which is Garp at this moment, and potentially could also be Saturn. That could add some extra leverage as he wants to bribe the world government, and York could use this to get her way to become a celestial dragon. She doesn't really need it as they kind of want her now, but I do think this is a very high possibility just to mirror Luffy's projection where he has his own Vegapunk and someone to read the poneglyphs. So does Blackbeard with Pudding and York. Again, I do think Luffy could pull double duty and fight Saturn after fighting Admiral Kizaru, which would be really fun. But I personally would love for Dragon to show up in this arc, considering his dear friend Vegapunk literally called him that he might die and his life is literally in danger, and the world literally knows what's happening right now. And considering his father Garp and his son Luffy are out in the world doing something and he's just sitting at home base doing nothing, kind of rubs me the wrong way. I really hope he shows up. He doesn't even have to meet Luffy, maybe he holds off Saturn or something, but honestly at this point, this is just copium. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this chapter. What do you think is going to happen next? How do you feel? What do you expect to happen between Luffy and Kizaru? I can't wait to see what happens. Hope you guys have a good day and a good night. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.